Oh, great Odin's raven.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
This is ridiculous. Okay, I'll go.
Hello and welcome to Film Pulse Weekly, episode number 6. My name is Adam. With me is Kevin.
Hello.
Today we're going to be doing a monthly segment we call Best and Worst, where we each pick a movie we would give 10 out of 10 and one that we would give 1 out of 10. Pretty simple.
Very simple.
Neither of us know what the other picks, so it should be pretty fun to see what we pick. If you would like to have us talk about a movie, send us an email at podcast@filmpulse.net and tell us why you picked it as the best or worst. And if it's good enough, we'll feature it on an upcoming episode. We also have Ryan back with us for another installment of Ryan Watches a Movie.
We sure do.
This week we made him watch The Adventures of Pluto Nash, starring Eddie Murphy.
I can't wait to see what he thinks.
And as always, at first we're going to be talking about movies we watched this week. Before we kick that off, I'd like to give a quick shout out to a new service that's out there called Tugg. This is tugg.com, and basically what this service does is it allows you to demand movies in your city. So, for instance, if there's a movie that's coming out that is only being released in select cities, you can use this site similar to Groupon to try to generate buzz and get them to bring it to your city. This is a pretty cool concept. I hope it works. That's the only thing. It just launched recently, so I don't know if it's gonna work or not. I really hope it does, though.
Yeah.
Because I think it'll be a really good way to get smaller movies to come to your town.
Yeah. It's a really good idea. But it mostly depends on if people know about it and actually use it.
Yeah, and I guess the way that it works is, so you pick a movie that you want to come out. They have a list on the site, and you apply to promote the event in your area, and then as you promote it, you get other people to commit to going to see the movie. So essentially you're selling tickets to the movie in advance, and once enough tickets get sold, they actually bring the movie to your local theater. And I think that's a really cool idea. I really hope it works.
Yes, it would be really nice, especially for places like where you and I live.
Yeah.
This is something that's right up our alley.
Oh, absolutely.
Trying to get some movies to our area that otherwise we never get.
Yeah, I think that their biggest hurdle is just, like you said, going to be raising awareness of the service. And I think, like, where I live in Tallahassee, Florida, I think that that's kind of a good service for where I live because, we have FSU and we have a huge film school here. So I think that there would be a good crowd for a lot of these movies.
Yeah, and where I live, I don't know if it's going to work as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that you could get some people, to bring a movie here, but I don't know if you could get enough people
I don't think you would need, I think it's maybe 50 people or something that you would need to get it to come. Because I think I think the way that it works is it's kind of like a one night only type thing. I could be wrong about that, but
yeah.
Let's move on. What is the first movie you want to talk about?
First movie I want to talk about, I guess would be. Do you want to talk about Boy? Did we talk about Boy?
No, we haven't talked about Boy yet.
Yes, we should talk about Boy.
Absolutely. I loved this movie. This is just a fantastic film. I think I reviewed it on the site. Did I review it?
I think you gave it a 9.
Yeah.
9 out of 10.
I think that was probably one of the highest reviews on our site so far. I think I gave The Artist a 9, but...
Yeah, I think we have 3 9s, I think, because I gave a separation of 9.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So I think we have 3 so far.
Boy is just such an amazing movie.
I can't wait for you to try and pronounce the names.
Yeah. I don't have the names in front of me.
So I'm gonna have to try and do this.
Yeah, I kind of dropped the ball with that.
Damn
so.
it. Taika Waititi, I think is the director's name. He is of, and stay with me here. He's from New Zealand, but he is also of Wanau Apanu descent. I don't know what that is.
I wonder if that's similar to like Aboriginal like descent.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's I don't know how I want to say it without coming off
Like an idiot.
Maybe like the Aborigines of New Zealand, but not Aborigines.
Like native New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. No, now I know what they are. It's Maori.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, this is kind of a sort of a coming of age story about a boy that is named Boy. That's his nickname, but he lives in this very, very small village in New Zealand, and his father, whom he idolizes, basically comes home from jail, and although they start to rekindle their relationship, there's the father kind of has some ulterior motives with coming home. It's a very funny movie. It is a comedy.
It's hilarious.
But
absolutely hilarious.
It does have some very serious themes in it. It's not a family film.
No.
This is the same director as Eagle vs. Shark, which was another fantastic New Zealand comedy.
Yes, and he directed a lot of Flight of the Conchords episodes. He's friends with Jermaine and Britt.
Mm-hmm.
Jermaine was actually in Eagle vs. Shark.
Right, and he also plays the father in the movie.
Yes, and he does a fantastic job.
Yes, he's very multi-talented.
But the Flight of the Conchords are not in Boy.
No, but
neither one of them.
No, but you don't miss them though. I mean, like,
no, you don't.
It's the type of movie where I think if they were in it, I think it might actually detract from the film a little bit. I don't mean that in like a really negative way. I mean, I love Flight of the Conchords and I love those guys, but one of the things that appealed to me with this movie is that it felt very realistic in that I didn't know any of the actors in it, so there was a bit of realism to it.
Yeah. Plus, I think their star power might have been a little bit of a distraction.
Right.
But this movie did win, or it was nominated, for Grand Jury Prize at Sundance. Yeah,
and it actually came out in 2010 in New Zealand, but it was just released over here in the States this month.
Yes. You definitely need to see it. I didn't know that the director, actually, he was in Green Lantern.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he was in Green Lantern. He was Tom Kalmaku, whoever that was. I don't know.
I guess it's probably one of the Green Lanterns, because like they have the whole like Green Lantern Corps. He's probably one of them or something. I don't. I saw it, but I don't remember him being in it, because it was. I never saw him before this movie, so.
Yeah, and apparently he's directing the pilot for The In-Betweeners.
Oh yeah, the well, is that a New Zealand one or the American one?
I don't know.
Because they're redoing The In-Betweeners. The In-Betweeners was originally a UK show, but their MTV is doing their own spin-off.
Yeah. I think it is the U.S. one.
I don't know. I mean, that might actually work out. When I first heard about it, I was like, oh no. Like, I'm a big fan of Skins, which is a show from the UK that they attempted to bring over here to the US, and it was horrible. Even though like they used the same storylines and a lot of the same like dialogue, even it was still really it wasn't nearly as good for whatever
Well,
reason.
yeah. Well, that was the same when The Office first started.
That's true.
I hated the way that they did that. That they essentially just lifted like all the dialogue and the jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it should just sort of be based that you shouldn't recreate it.
Yeah. Fortunately,
Almost.
they were able to get past that with The Office, and
Yeah, they sort of grew out of it and became their own show. Thank God.
yeah. It's Boy is it's a very different kind of movie. It's what I would also call charming.
He's obsessed with Michael Jackson. The
Yeah.
little boy is obsessed with Michael Jackson. It's his favorite subject at school.
His favorite subject in school is Michael Jackson. There's they do a lot of cool like cutaways and stuff where he's kind of imagining his father as being this like almost superhero, where he's doing all this crazy stuff, and it's really kind of cool because it is about this kid, and he's like 12, and it's about his life, and it's about his younger brother too. But we get to see like kind of what goes on in their imagination a lot, which brings the movie to this really unique and creative kind of style. Like the story itself is something that we've kind of seen before, but the way that they put it together, and like the camera work and the cinematography and just the ridiculous dialogue, and it's just it goes together really good. And it takes place in the 80s too, so there are, I know I said in the review, there are 80s references. Like his father's always referencing E.T. and talking about E.T.
He's seen it 11 times.
But the thing is, with one of the things that we've seen with these like 80s revival type movies is basically it's like nonstop 80s references, and those are actually like part of the joke. Like those are actually, they use 80s references as like a punchline, I guess, but this doesn't do it. It's really understated in this movie, and it works out really nicely. I love the 80s, and I like 80s movies a lot, but like Take Me Home Tonight is a great example of the movie itself wasn't funny, and all the jokes were just like, oh, it's the 80s, and I have a big cell phone, and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I find that to be like a cop-out.
Yes, very much so. And the nice thing is they do a little bit of animation, because Boy's little brother, Rocky, thinks that he has superpowers. Because Boy, a sad thing is that when Rocky was born, his mom died during childbirth. And the reason was Boy told him because he was too powerful. So he, of course, now he thinks that he has superpowers. So they sort of animate what he's doing. Like he thinks that he can run a school bus off the side of the road, and all these things. And it's great.
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. At the very least, check out the review on our site and watch the trailer. If you watch it, it's a really good trailer, and you'll be hooked. You'll want to see it after that.
Yes.
Moving on really quickly, I saw Act of Valor. Okay,
Why are
so
you laughing?
so the reason that I saw Act of Valor, I wasn't planning on reviewing it for the site. With new movies, I like to get the reviews up the weekend they release, and my cousin saw Act of Valor, and he was like, my cousin's a Marine, and he's like, it was very realistic in the tactics that they did, and the action was cool, but you have to go into it thinking that, just knowing that the acting is really bad. So I was like,
love
okay, I'll give it a shot.
Go into the movie knowing that it's no good.
Yeah.
You'll like it.
So I went to see it, and it was almost unwatchable for me. I hated it so much. I wanted to walk out. It was now. See, I'm not a stickler for good acting. I don't mind seeing movies that don't have particularly good acting in them. But with this movie, it was so horrendous. And it wasn't just the acting, it was the dialogue, it was the writing. It was so horrendous that it just completely pulled me out of it. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's like a haywire type situation where I can let it slide because these are active duty SEALs, and, I'm not going to see it for the acting. I'm just going to see some cool action. And I will say that the action was good. It was the action was cool, and I did enjoy all the action scenes. It was like a Call of Duty movie or something. But the thing about that is the voice acting in the Call of Duty games is 100 times better than in this movie. The plot was very thin as well, and that didn't help it. But even the actors in the movie that were actual actors did a pretty piss poor job. It was definitely not recommending Act of Valor.
Oh, I had high hopes. Stick to Navy SEALs.
Yeah, stick to Navy SEALs. It's probably better, unfortunately. What's next?
Headhunters.
Ooh, Headhunters, yeah. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. They're planning on bringing this over to the States. They're going to be remaking it at some point. This is originally a film from Norway, I believe.
Yes.
And basically it's about an art thief who is a headhunter for like a financial firm?
Yeah. It's like a corporate headhunter.
Yeah. So like his day job is kind of finding new blood to bring into these large corporations and stuff, and I think that he's kind of like a little bit of a poacher too, where he kind of picks people and brings them onto this big company, but he kind of moonlights as this master art thief, and that's kind of how he picks his targets too. When he's interviewing people for his work, he's kind of sizing them up to see if they have any good art pieces. And
yeah, he uses that, plus then he'll go in and ask questions about, do you have a wife, girlfriend, a dog, all those things, when are you home? He's sort of casing the place without even being there, just doing interviews with these people.
Yeah, this was a really, really cool movie. I like this movie a whole lot. I would say that it's sort of an action movie, maybe more of a thriller.
Yeah.
Some really crazy stuff happens towards the end. There's some really cool twists and stuff. Like, this guy's really smart, and he gets himself into this really bad situation, and how he gets out of it is really, really cool.
Yes.
He has a partner that works in surveillance. So his partner at this surveillance company basically helps him like turn off security cameras at certain times, and so he can get in and do that type of thing.
Yeah, and then he takes whatever he steals, and he'll take it to, I think he goes to Sweden. I think it might be Oslo.
Yeah, I think it might be Oslo.
He's the guy that takes it in and sells it, and then he comes back with the money, of course, and they split it. Mm-hmm. And it's based on the Joe Nesbo novel, which he's sort of picking up here. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's written a good number of books, but there's also news that Scorsese's going to be adapting a Joe Nesbo novel, The Snowman. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be coming up in a little bit. So it seems like, people are starting to adapt Joe Nesbo's novels. I guess that's going to be the new thing. Take over for Stieg Larsson.
Yeah. I guess it did kind of have a little bit of a girl with the dragon tattoo type vibe to it. It
Yeah,
definitely did have that vibe.
I remember, it might have been last year, something. I remember actually they had a story on NPR about Norwegian crime novelists. I guess that's like their big thing in Norway, or I guess Scandinavia as a whole. They're really into their crime novels with Stieg Larsson, and Joe Nesbo, and I think there's even a couple more.
Yeah, I just saw a film called Snabbakash, and that's Swedish, but that had kind of the same kind of vibe to it as well.
Hmm.
And that was quite good. I imagine we'll be talking about that later because they're going to be bringing that to the States as well.
Of course they are.
And it was starring Joel Kinnaman, who is not a household name yet, but he's in The Killing on AMC, and he's going to be the new RoboCop.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually like him a lot.
Yeah, that's
he's cool.
right. That's right.
It's called Snabbakash in Sweden, but in the U.S. it's going to be called Easy Money. And they made 2 of them.
Okay.
So,
well, the guy that plays Klaus Grieve in Headhunters, he's the guy from Game of Thrones.
yes,
Plays
yeah,
Jaime Lannister.
yeah, Jamie Lannister, and he's just as villainous in Headhunters as he is in Game of Thrones. He's a complete bastard. You hate him.
Correct.
Let's move on. I saw a documentary this week called Being Elmo. This came out last year, and it's basically about the puppeteer who controls and voices Elmo from Sesame Street. Now, I know we did our documentary show a few weeks back. I wish that I saw this movie when we were talking about that, because this takes my number 1 spot on best documentary of 2011. I'm really surprised that it didn't get nominated for an Oscar. I really thought it was way deserving. It was it was just so good. It was, it's sort of a family film. I mean, anybody can watch it, but it's such a touching and just heartwarming film. It just makes you feel good. Makes you feel good about life the whole way through. I mean, from the very beginning. And this guy is just such a cool guy. Highly recommend that one.
I have a feeling that the Academy, when it comes to documentaries, they only pick sort of, what do you say? I guess like serious things. Like, they usually don't go for the whole, it's a movie about the guy that voices Elmo.
Yeah, and that's a shame, because it was a really, really interesting documentary. They talked a lot about Jim Henson and how they create the puppets and everything like that. And I was really into the Muppets when I was young, and I think everybody loved Sesame Street when they were little. And it was just really interesting to see kind of the inner workings of how all that works.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met a kid that wasn't into Sesame Street.
I don't want to meet a kid that wasn't into Sesame Street.
Yeah, you've never hear that. Like, oh, I put Sesame Street on for him and he can't stand it. Never happens.
If I put Sesame Street on and my kid didn't want anything to do with it, I would immediately have to take him to a psychologist, because I would think that he's a psychopath. I'd be like, my kid, there's something wrong.
Yeah, I would think so.
Any other movies you want to talk about?
Not really. Well, real quick, what did you think? Because we both saw the Catechism Cataclysm.
I thought it was okay.
What did you think of the end?
I thought it was funny. It had a kind of very dark tone to it. Mm-hmm. The main guy, I don't know his name. It's the guy from Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, Steve Little. Steve Little is his name.
Did he have something to do with? Did he like direct that or something as well?
No, he was just in it. But I think it was one of those movies that was. I think it was produced by or it was his production company, and then Rough House Pictures also produced it, which is Danny McBride and David Gordon Green.
Oh yeah.
And I think Jody Hill's in that as well.
Yeah, it's that one is that's streaming on Netflix, right?
I don't think it's streaming.
Oh, it's not streaming.
It might be. I don't know.
I thought that it was. I know it's on demand. That's where I saw it, but it was okay. I mean, I can only really take that guy in small doses because he's so dopey. And I know that. I mean, that's his shtick, and he's really funny in Eastbound and Down. But I think that that's just because he's just playing off of Danny McBride.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was directed by the guy that did the Guatemalan Handshake, which was I thought you did see that movie.
No, I don't think I saw that.
Well, that starred Bonnie Prince Billy, and it was shot around Peach Bottom here in Pennsylvania. That was his first movie, and I guess his newest movie has a bunch of people in it. I think it's Patton Oswalt. It's called Nature Calls.
You know what? I just read a review for that on IndieWire. It played at South by, and they posted a review up for it. I think it premiered there this weekend.
Yeah, it's got Patton Oswalt, Rob Riggle, Johnny Knoxville, and Patrice O'Neal.
Yeah.
Which I think it's his last movie. I don't know if he was working on anything else when he passed away.
Yeah, I think it might be his last. But the review wasn't a very glowing one on IndieWire.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I mean, I'll still check it out. I like all those people. So
yes, same here.
That does it. Let's move on to Ryan Watches a Movie. This is Ryan Watches a Movie, where we get our friend Ryan to watch a movie and report back to us on if it was good or not.
Oh no, Carl. Little kids got naked and sex.
Welcome back, Ryan. What movie did we have you watch this week?
The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
The Adventures of Pluto Nash. This is the 2002 film starring Eddie Murphy. We picked that this week in honor of 1,000 Words with Eddie Murphy. This got a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes. The IMDb synopsis says, in the future, a man struggles to keep control of his nightclub from mafia control in space. The IMDb synopsises for movies are so horrible.
Yes.
Like, they're not even written correctly.
No, they're not. But then again, that's just a recipe for awfulness.
This movie doesn't really deserve a good plot synopsis.
It stars Eddie Murphy, Rosario Dawson, Jay Moore, Joe Pantoliano, Randy Quaid, Luis Guzman, Pam Grier, John Cleese, and Peter Doyle. So it's got a pretty impressive cast, I would say.
Peter Boyle.
Yeah.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Let's go ahead and listen to the trailer for The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
239,000 miles from Earth, in the blackness of space, there is a giant rock called the Moon. And in the year 2087, its future will be in the hands of one man. Eddie Murphy is
Pluto Nash?
Pluto Nash?
It is a pleasure to meet me.
the battle between pretty evil
Let's get it right this time.
Let's get it right this time.
and pretty good
Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at me.
begins.
Well, we were thinking a little more bubblage.
Hey!
Oh, yeah.
Eddie Murphy
A pleasure to meet you, Pluto.
But why is the moon in his hands when he's just a nightclub owner?
The moon should never be in Eddie Murphy's hands because it will be destroyed. I guarantee you.
Ryan, why don't you tell us about Pluto Nash?
Where to start? Well, basically Eddie Murphy buys Jay Moore's car, or doesn't buy it, he takes it over. Because Jay Moore owes the Mafia a bunch of money. And Eddie Murphy takes over the club and turns it into like a decent place. And he then tries to get bought out by the Mafia. And he says no. They offer him money and he says no. And a little chase ensues. And towards the end of the movie, you find out that Eddie Murphy, Kevin?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sorry, you disappeared. I'm
trying to quell my laughter.
Towards the end of the movie, you find out that Eddie Murphy is actually been cloned, and his clone is the one that's trying to kill him because his clone's intertwined in the Mafia now.
Here's my first question. How do you not know you have a clone? Like, did they take a sample of his DNA at birth or something?
Apparently, and this wasn't shown in the movie. It was like a one-line thing. But apparently Eddie Murphy was in jail, and they had to remove his appendix. And when they removed it, then they cloned him.
Okay. Follow-up question.
Why would you clone a criminal?
Why? Yeah. Why would you clone Eddie Murphy?
I do. Apparently because he got charisma. I don't. You hear that word a lot in this movie. The word charisma.
But
in the future, no one has it. Charisma is a superpower in the future.
Exactly.
Yes.
Moon rules. Charisma's
According to Moon Law,
charisma.
Only one man may have charisma.
But seriously, why would you be cloning criminals?
Yeah, and like, did they clone all criminals or just Eddie Murphy?
God, I hope
and
not.
Why would they clone him in the first place?
I wish I had an answer for all those, but I do not.
Okay, who cloned him? Was it like the government or was it the Mafia?
It was when the line was said. It was said by one of the Mafia guys. He said, "Remember when you were in jail and you had to have your appendix removed? That's how we cloned you." And that.
Wow.
Talk about a twist.
This sounds like a sci-fi epic.
Oh, man.
Epic, alright. Epic bullshit.
Let's talk about the budget. This is something
Please.
This had a $100 million budget.
Why?
Okay, now this was made in 2002. So when you look at $100 million, I mean, big budget movies nowadays are made for $100 million. So back then, that must have been a fortune.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and guess that a main portion of that budget was for the fact that all these stars are in.
Yeah, that could be.
Plus,
I mean,
probably
they're not
the special effects. But I guess it was coming right off of. I mean, Shrek was made in 2001, and Nutty Professor 2 was in 2000, and Dr. Dolittle 2 was in 2001. So I guess they were trying to capitalize on this whole Eddie Murphy resurgence.
That's when he was doing.
They're always trying to make money off of Eddie Murphy. That's every day in history.
Yeah,
and they always lose. Except Shrek, really.
Yeah, they do. I mean,
and they lost.
I don't know.
They lost big.
The movie only grossed $4 million,
And
which, yeah, that's pretty bad.
how did it gross 4 million? That's surprising enough to me.
You know what's funny? Opening the midnight showing of John Carter, just the midnight showing, Thursday night, grossed $50 million. So, one showing of John Carter in every theater grossed way more than Pluto Nash grossed in its entire run.
Wow.
Now, granted, I mean, once again, we are in 2012.
Yeah, inflation, everything.
And John Carter was in IMAX 3D, so the tickets are more expensive. But
God, could you imagine the Adventures of Pluto Nash in IMAX 3D?
oh my God. It'd be amazing. I feel like, you know, looking at the cast, Eddie Murphy at the time was obviously the biggest name. I think that Rosario Dawson was not as big as she later became when this movie came out. I don't think.
Nah.
I don't think she was like a household name when this came
not
out.
really. I don't think she really still is.
Not anymore. She hasn't really been in anything too recently.
Nah.
I think she kind of hit her peak, and now I think she was in some like lower budget, like straight to DVD stuff recently.
Yeah.
I have one more guest actor that makes a surprise appearance today.
Please tell me it's Shaq.
No, it's
Oh.
close. Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin is in this movie.
Oh,
Yes.
That's sad.
He's
yeah,
not.
that is sad.
That's sad.
He doesn't play like a very important role. He just makes a 3-minute cameo.
Yeah, but he fought through it. You gotta give him that. He's still around.
Well,
Yes,
yeah, I mean,
Most of these people aren't.
yeah,
Well,
That's
Peter
true.
Boyle has trouble being around because he's dead.
yeah, he's dead.
Yeah, that's true. I'm also embarrassed to see that John Cleese is in this movie.
Well, when you look at his career, I mean, yeah, by this point, John Cleese was kind of done. You know, like all his big stuff was decades before this.
Yeah, but I would think he still made good decisions and to not be in things. But I guess,
Well-
you need the money.
Yeah, he's probably looking for a paycheck, and with a $100 million budget, I'm sure that it paid pretty decently.
Yeah.
And I mean, Luis Guzman's probably
Luis
he's-
Guzman will be in anything.
He's
great,
pretty
Yeah, but
funny.
He'll do it.
he's more famous now than back then for sure.
That
Like
I didn't.
I remember back then he was like one of those guys like Richard Jenkins
Yeah.
used to be, where it's like,
That-
man, who is that guy? I don't
that
know
guy.
his name, but he's in everything.
That
That
guy.
guy.
Who is that guy? You know, the chubby Latino. Who is that guy?
Luis Guzman, he's not like a main character, but I will be honest and say that he made me laugh more than any other part of this movie.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he is.
Let's talk about the director. This was directed by
Yes.
Ron Underwood.
No. The great Ron Underwood.
The great Ron Underwood.
There you go.
He doesn't have a household name, but you probably know him from City Slickers, Mighty Joe Young,
Oh yeah. Tremors.
which I didn't like, but Tremors, that's the big. I liked City Slickers a lot though.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
And-
Tremors and City Slickers they're 90 classics.
I love Tremors.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's
Oh, yeah.
like one of my. It's so much fun, but he did. I mean, he did a bunch of other movies too. Those were just, I would say, 3 of his most famous ones. But he only did 2 other movies after Pluto Nash, and they were Stealing Sinatra and In the Mix, which I haven't seen either of those. I don't know anything about them, so I really can't say too much about it. But after that, he just went on to direct TV shows, episodes of TV shows.
And, some great ones. Let's go through it real quick. Ugly Betty, Reaper, Drop Dead Diva, Heroes, Castle, Happy Town, No Ordinary Family, Hellcats, Necessary Roughness,
Oh,
Harry's
What the would you make a TV show based on that? On
Well, it's
Necessary
not.
Roughness.
No. The show's called Necessary Roughness.
Yes.
And it's about
okay.
it's about a woman who is she's like a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a therapist or something, and
Psychotherapist.
a psychotherapist, and she ends up being the psychotherapist for this football team.
Mm-hmm. So you wish that it was
It's it's one of those USA shows. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's like Royal Pains or one of those really like
just
formulaic,
awful. Just awful. Sale.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I'm reading two interesting things here on Wikipedia. Number one, Jennifer Lopez was originally cast instead of Rosario Dawson.
Now, see, Jennifer Lopez was that was when she was like really blowing up, because I think that's probably right around when what's it called, Out of Sight came out, right? That's probably right around that time.
Plus, wasn't she like real huge in music at that time?
Yeah, probably.
Her career still tanked, so
Yeah, it did.
doesn't matter.
And also, this film is 79th on the 100 worst movies of the 2000 decade on Rotten Tomatoes.
It does have a 6% run.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this made it to the list of worst movies ever made.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't.
I would think so.
This was more enjoyable. I don't want to use the word enjoyable, but it was more tolerable for me than that piece of shit I had to watch last week.
Oh, Adventures of Power, come on.
Wow, what a slap in the face if I were gold.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Poor guy.
Another interesting random fact about this movie.
Please.
You know the two twins that are in the movie Slackers? Like when they're at that party?
Yes.
Those two twins are in this movie.
Oh, really?
They're Jay Moore's wives.
Oh, yeah, I did see that in the trailer. I do. I remember that. Let's briefly talk about the writer, Neil Cuthbert. He did Mystery Men, Hocus Pocus, The Return of Swamp Thing. This was his last movie.
Oh,
Pluto
no wonder this movie was so f***ing terrible.
This was his last movie?
Yeah. Yep. That was it for Neil Cuthbert.
I think that on our blog that we should sort of petition for a Neil Cuthbert comeback.
Uh-oh. Yeah. I'm gonna get that going.
Yeah, with movies starring, Gutenberg and Judge Reinhold.
Yeah, there we go.
We're gonna kickstart careers right now.
I want Rick Moranis to come back.
Oh, I would love that.
Like in all seriousness.
Yeah,
though.
no, yeah, exactly. As you could tell by the way I said it, I was very serious when I was like, yeah, I would love to have Rick Moranis back.
I remember when I was younger, I actually liked Hocus Pocus a lot when I was young. Because I think that movie came out when we were still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I was into that because that was like... I remember the special effects, being really impressed with the special effects in that movie.
Well...
And I don't even remember really too much about it.
Yeah, maybe you should revisit that movie.
Oh, yeah.
See what you think now.
I'm not revisiting.
Okay. Well, fortunately, we're not asking you to revisit Hocus Pocus because we already saw that, and we're only having you watch movies we haven't seen.
Oh, Hocus
you're
Pocus
safe.
blew my brains out.
Because the director of Hocus Pocus went on to direct High School Musical, High School Musical 2, High School Musical 3, Senior Year, Cheetah Girls 2, Gilmore Girls, Michael Jackson Memorial.
Yeah, you know what that was? Because Hocus Pocus was a Disney movie.
It sure was.
And they like to keep all their directors and stuff in-house.
Mm-hmm.
And like those Cheetah Girls and High School Musical and all those are all Disney. That's what it is.
Cages. Not in-house. I think it's cages.
Oh, Robot Chicken also parodied this movie.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
No.
Yeah, they kill themselves.
Yeah, actually, you were correct.
They sure do.
That's funny.
And
they kill themselves 3 days after the film's release. And the U.S. Congress declares Pluto Nash Day to memorialize the tragedy.
Kill yourself. Kill yourself. The special effects weren't terrible in this movie.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. I'm glad you brought that up. Like, I did see in the trailer how they did the dumb Rosario Dawson and Eddie Murphy on like bodybuilder bodies and stuff. I guess that's when during that time is when they were really starting to use CG to like manipulate people and stuff, and it looked ridiculous. But I mean, how were like the sets and stuff? Was it a lot of CG or?
Most of the stuff looked pretty. It didn't look out of this world, but it looked alright. Some of the scenes where they zoom in, you can tell that they're models, but I mean, you can't tell for the most part when CG happens because it's not that often. You know,
that's good.
In some movies, you can tell because it looks terrible.
Yeah.
But in this movie, when Eddie Murphy and Rosario Dawson are running away from the mafia, they run. It's supposed to represent zero gravity, but it looks like the whole thing is in slow motion.
Well, okay, so they were running away, but they were on the moon.
Yeah.
So
they had.
I mean, there's gravity on the moon, but it's just not. There's not as much gravity. So they.
But it just looked like, to my eye, it looked like the director slowed it down.
So their arms, when they were running, did their arms move slower?
Yeah. They
because that's what I always see. Because if your arms are moving slower, that wouldn't be. You know what I mean? If you were running on the moon, your arms would still move just as fast.
Correct. They sort of skip along, but you can tell that there's something not right because it looks slow.
Oh, there's a lot that's not right. There's tons.
Well, I mean, okay, so were they wearing spacesuits at least?
They had, yes. At one point, yes.
I mean, how's the science? Was it, accurate as far as, the fact that there is...
Pretty sure it was, but at one point, they said the temperature of the moon is 200 degrees below zero, and it makes me wonder, most of this took place in a globe sort of setting. But when they're outside, I don't understand how that. They didn't seem like there was that big a temperature drop, and they were able to function correctly. I mean, they had spacesuits on, but I guess I just don't understand the science.
I don't think they were considering the science too much when they were making that movie.
No.
Okay, let's go ahead and...
What's the score for it? Out of 10.
I'm gonna go ahead and say 2.
2?
It was better than the movie last week, but it still wasn't good. I know.
I'm still trying to figure out your whole grading system, because what the last movie was like a negative 5,000, and then that translated to like a 1, and the movie before that was like a negative 500, and that translated to like a 5, I think.
I don't. I just tried like that movie last week. I could barely watch it because it was so retarded. But this movie, I mean, I understood what's happening in this movie. Whether it was dumb or not, the actual movie, whether it was dumb or not, I understood what was going on.
Well, we're going to be compiling a list of all your scores, and we'll make sure that you have a current list, so you can kind of base your score off of what you've already rated.
Yeah.
And then
I'm looking for a 5 or a 6. Because I haven't had anything above a 5.
No, what did you rate?
I thought.
What did you rate a Serbian film?
I thought that
did you give
got
that a 6?
Yeah, I thought that got a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think,
You
you gave that a 6.
You don't know.
That.
You have no idea.
You just throw numbers out there. 4.5.
That movie was also not that good, but I understood it, and I felt like part of my score for that movie might have come from the fact that I don't like reading translation. Like, I feel the need to pay attention to the movie and not the words.
Yes. Well,
subtitles.
I'm not gonna comment on that.
Subtitles.
You can also give half scores too. Like our rating scale for the site is out of 10, but we can do halves too. Just so you know.
Are you okay with that?
I get
that.
Okay. I get some okay.
Okay.
So you would still give Pluto Nash a 2?
Possibly, yeah. I would say one and a half, between 1.5 and 2.
Pick a number.
1.75. What?
We're not dealing with like fractions here.
God.
Let's just stick with 2. We'll stick with 2, right?
That's fine.
Okay. Well, thank you once again for watching that for us. We greatly appreciate it.
No problem.
Make sure to check back next week. We'll have another great movie for you. I told you I already have that picked out too, and it is a great one.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I am very excited.
It's the greatest movie you'll ever see.
Man. I'm excited too.
You should be.
All right, Ryan. Thank you very much.
No problem.
See you later. Thank you again, Ryan. I have one correction to make about our segment, Ryan Watches a Movie, for this week. I said that John Carter grossed $50 million on its midnight show. That was completely incorrect. I read it wrong. It actually grossed $500,000 at its midnight show, and currently this weekend it only pulled in $39 million. So, little correction there. I'd like to take a minute to talk about Amazon. We've been plugging Amazon for a little while now, and I said before that if you buy something strange enough on Amazon, we will send you a prize. All you got to do is buy something on Amazon. Just head on over to our site at filmpulse.net, click on the Amazon banner, buy something weird, and email us and let us know that you bought that. And if it's weird enough, we will send you a prize. It is a DVD or Blu-ray. I'll tell you that. We got some good stuff, but nothing weird, I would say. We got some movies being sold. We got some computer peripherals and things, but nothing that I would call really strange. So,
no samurai swords yet?
no samurai swords or shurikens. I'm waiting for that.
Size? Any size?
No.
Oh, come on.
I'm waiting for like to see a message come through that says like I just bought like a 36 pack of bulk toilet paper or something.
That's not actually a bad idea. I might do that.
No, you should. Actually got the idea from Ryan.
Yeah, you can probably get that stuff dirt cheap.
I now, yeah.
I always forget to buy just like home goods on Amazon.
Yeah, I started buying all my coffee on Amazon. I have I have a Keurig, and the K-cups that come with it are just ridiculous, and I go through them so fast because at the grocery store here they only sell packs of 12. So you can buy like bulk packs for real cheap on Amazon. So I started doing that.
Nice.
Make sure you check out our Film Pulse store on our site as well. It has some of the movies that we've been talking about during the week, and it also has some of our top favorite DVDs and Blu-rays. Let's go ahead and kick off our new segment, Best and Worst. We'll start with you, Kevin. We'll do our bests first, and then we'll go over our worsts. So,
okay.
What is your best? 10 out of 10. Here we go.
10 out of 10. Well, I already did one. You know, it was The Fire Within, the Louis Malle French movie. This one is my second one. And since I just posted the movies that were announced for Tribeca, and one of the movies that's going to be playing there is called Headshot, which is by... why do I always pick movies that have ridiculous names? So here we go. Pen-ek Ratanaruang. So I don't know if that's even close.
It sounds close enough.
So just take what I said and sort of try and put it together like it was being said by a normal person.
I wouldn't have been able to pronounce it either. I got Peter Boyle wrong on the last segment.
True. So yeah, he's a Thai director. And my 10 out of 10 is The Last Life in the Universe, which was also on our top 10 Valentine's Day, romance movies. It was on there. So yeah, this is definitely a 10 out of 10 for me. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Absolutely love this movie.
Now, I remember when we first saw this movie, back in the day, we were on this Asian film kick. Remember where we both got all region DVD players, and we were getting insane amounts of Asian imports.
Like every week we would buy like 4 or 5.
Yeah, we were getting all these Region 2 imports, and we were just going to town. But yeah, I remember Last Life in the Universe being like, when we saw it, I was just like, oh my god, this is so good.
Yes, and the main reason that we stumbled across this movie is because, like we said, we were going through our Asian kick, and there was 2 people. Well, there was a number of people that we really, really liked, that we were big fans of, and this movie had 2 of them. Number 1 being Tadanobu Asano, the big-time Japanese actor that I think both of us are big fans of.
Yeah.
So I think that's what first got us to this movie. And then second, there's a cameo by Takeshi Miike, who plays a Yakuza in this movie. And of course we were obsessed with his movies as well.
Absolutely. Why don't you give us a quick plot synopsis?
Quick plot synopsis is Asano plays an obsessive compulsive suicidal who one day he's trying to kill himself. He's trying to jump off of a bridge, and there's these 2 Thai girls that are arguing or whatever. They're sisters, and the one sister gets run over by a car, and he comes over and he tries, to help and everything, and the sister subsequently dies. So he decides to try and help her, but there's also this whole thing where you sort of find out that he's he's in hiding already from the Yakuza, but you don't know what for. And one night his brother comes over to his house with another Yakuza guy, and a gunfight breaks out, and both of them get killed, and he has to hide the bodies and stuff. And just, it's essentially about them sort of coming together, him and the Thai woman, come together and just sort of living together and helping each other get through, sort of the tragedies that they both experienced.
And it is kind of a romance movie, though. It is,
yeah.
And it's also, if I remember correctly, it was kind of like a comedy too.
Yes, there was some comedic parts in it. I mean, the way that he tries to kill himself sometimes are, I mean, suicide's not really funny, but the fact that one day he just goes out and just tries to lay down behind the car, so that when she leaves, she'll run him over, and he's just sitting there. He's just laying on the ground very quietly, and every time he tries to commit suicide, he doesn't, just such a nonchalant. He's a very quiet man. A lot of the stuff that he does, and of course it's sort of known for it's filmed in 3 different languages, so it's trilingual. They speak Thai, Japanese, and a little even English. So, and I mean, there's some, because of course she's Thai, he's Japanese, so there's lost in translation when they're talking and stuff.
That was a great movie. I would give that a 10 out of 10. I would. Yeah,
and one other thing about this movie that is, I love the cinematography in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Which is done by Christopher Doyle, who a lot of times I don't know a lot of cinematographers, but he's one that I do know. He did the cinematography for Hero, In the Mood for Love, The Limits of Control, unfortunately Paranoid Park.
Well, I mean, the cinematography in Paranoid Park was actually pretty good.
Yeah, and he also did one of his first movies in the beginning, which he probably got known for, was Chungking Express. Back in '94, he did the cinematographer for that.
Yeah, that was a pretty big movie when that came out.
Yeah, amazing movie, and it actually has a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, so we're not far off.
No.
Not really a surprise, I would say.
Nope. Anything else to add?
I just want to say that his newest movie, which I'm really excited for, Headshot, it's a crime drama. He's going back to that whole thing, but it's about a hitman that wakes up and sees the world upside down. So,
yeah, when I first read about that, I was very, very excited about that.
Yes,
it sounds like such a cool idea.
Yeah, and I'll probably do it today, but I did find a trailer for it, so I'm going to be posting that on the site so you can see. And I have to say, it looks pretty badass.
Yeah, I want to see that. The first movie I want to talk about as my best is, I'm going to play a clip and then see if you can guess what it is. But you will, because it's obvious.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite movies is 1986's Stand By Me. This has always been one of my all-time favorite movies for many reasons.
Yes.
This is directed by Rob Reiner. It's based on a short story by Stephen King. It stars Will Wheaton, River Phoenix, Corey Feldman, Jerry O'Connell, who you probably don't even recognize because he's quite a little porker back then. Kiefer Sutherland, this is one of his earlier roles. This he made Stand By Me right before he did Lost Boys, and I guess Lost Boys was kind of his really breakout role.
Yeah.
Richard Dreyfuss and John Cusack was also in it for a short time. If you haven't seen Stand By Me, which you should.
We don't want to know you.
Yeah.
I think we should just, that's what should be said. I'm sorry. But if you haven't seen it, we don't want to know you.
Just watch it.
So if you haven't seen us, just unlike us on Facebook.
Yes.
If you liked us
I
before.
didn't want anything to do with you. The film takes place in 1959. It's about a group of friends who decide that they want to go find this dead body that Jerry O'Connell's character overheard his older brother talking about. The story is that there was a boy that was missing, presumably dead, and they had heard that he got hit by a train, and they wanted to go on this adventure to see this dead body. And there's so much to this film. It's a coming-of-age story, but it's also about friendship and the value of friendship, and also kind of about drifting apart as you get older. It's got funny moments, it's got sad moments, it's got touching moments. It was just this perfect blend, and maybe the reason that I love it is because I'm a guy and I can relate with a lot of the themes of the film. I had a lot of, and I mean, Kevin, we grew up together. We went to elementary school together, so
Yes.
I think that we can relate a lot to the characters. And you know, these are really young actors, and they all did such a phenomenal job that they really just brought it. And River Phoenix, who's probably the most, you know, tragic part about this movie, this was kind of when River Phoenix was just starting out, and he gave such a amazing performance in this movie, and he was quickly becoming one of, you know, the country's top actors. He was just blowing up, and sort of, I guess, like Heath Ledger, he kind of prematurely died.
Yeah.
But everything about this movie was just so fantastic. Had a great soundtrack. There was this was nominated for Best Screenplay. However, it lost. I think it was the '87 Oscars, but it lost to Room with a View. That was actually the only Oscar it was nominated for. That was the year that it came out. There were some big movies. I think I can't remember what else came out, but I remember it had some pretty stiff competition.
It got nominated for a couple Golden Globes though too, Best Director and Best Picture Drama. So, but this was Jerry O'Connell's first movie, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was his debut, and then of course the other tragedy is Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Because you said River Phoenix. It's sad that he never got it together.
Yeah, and Corey Feldman kind of fell into that unfortunate child actor, you know, statistic basically. And like when he was around this time, he was huge. He was in everything.
He was in every movie back then, and he was good in all those movies too.
That's the thing. He was a really solid actor. I mean, he was really good, and then it just all fell apart for him and Corey Haim.
Yeah, I mean, Corey Feldman was the '80s. Stand by Me, The Goonies, Gremlins, The Lost Boys.
He was.
Are you kidding me? Yeah,
The Burbs. I love
he was
The
in
Burbs.
Everything.
Yeah. So, just a fantastic movie. This is one of the earliest movies I remember seeing as a very young child, and it always stuck with me. Like the scene where the leech scene where they're walking, and they're in the woods, and they find a little stream, and they put a stick in, and they're like, oh yeah, it's like really shallow. They walk in like 3 feet in, and they just all sink to the bottom, and then when they get out, they're covered in leeches.
Yes, I mean, this movie always stuck with me too, because this is essentially what me and my brother did when we were little. Is we would find like a stream or something, and then we would just follow it like almost all day. So we would spend like 8 hours just walking through farms and streams and the woods and all this, just looking for cool stuff.
Yeah, and it was just so perfectly done. It really captured kind of the innocence of youth, and at the same time kind of the loss of innocence, because each of these kids come from very different, have very different home lives, and they all had their own kind of dysfunctional families to deal with, and for a lot of them it was, very difficult to be, just growing up in this place. And it was just really, I mean, John Cusack played Will Wheaton's character's older brother who died, and he was just constantly living in the shadow of his brother. His brother was this big sports star, and Will Wheaton's character wanted to be a writer. And I think that character was probably based off of Stephen King's life, but just so amazing. I can't say enough about this movie. If you haven't seen it, just stop, press pause, and go watch it, because it's so good. The ending is so sad, and it has a really famous scene. I mean, this they even did a Family Guy episode where it was a parody of Stand By Me. Yeah. And the end of the film is very famous for when they're done with their adventure and they get back home, and they're all kind of standing at this crossroads, and they all kind of walk their separate ways, and then they do this thing where the characters kind of fade away, and then Richard Dreyfuss plays the grown-up, I think his name's Gordy, and he's kind of writing a book about all this. So Richard Dreyfuss is the narrator, and it's kind of the film's kind of bookended with him writing the story of his youth, and at the end, his kids come in, and his son comes in with his friends, and it's like he can see that this is the amazing childhood that I had with these friends that were like brothers to me, and now I'm seeing my son having the same amazing experience. And it's like when you're 12, your life is so carefree, and it just really captured that. On the flip side, let's go over some 1 out of 10s. What's your 1 out of 10?
My 1 out of 10 is, well, I first start off by saying that I didn't actually finish this movie because it was so bad. But my 1 out of 10, which is actually maybe more of a 0 out of 10, I think we might open it up to 0s and 1s out of 10s.
Yeah.
But either way, it's just awful. Is Year One, the comedy from 2009 by Harold Ramis. Oh. Since they're supposed to be working on the new Ghostbusters 3 movie.
Well, that actually is not even going to happen anymore.
It's not. They called it off.
Yeah, because Bill Murray flat out said no. It's not. I won't be in it. And Dan Aykroyd said, "I'd like to make it happen, but there's no way it's going to happen without Bill."
Yeah. Okay.
So I think that's done for.
Yeah. Well, either way, he made this. He made Year One. Harold Ramis made Year One, and I remember, they were promoting this thing like crazy. It's huge cast: Jack Black, Michael Cera, David Cross, Hank Azaria,
Paul Rudd.
I mean, almost everyone is in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw this in the theater, and I could not believe how horrible it was.
Yes, it was god-awful. And at first, I was like, oh man, this is really bad. This is going to be fun to just watch and make fun of it. Sometimes it's fun to do that. You watch a bad movie and it's entertaining in all the wrong ways, like in ways that they didn't intend it to be. Mm-hmm. And I figured that that's how it was going to be. But I felt bad after like 15 minutes of it. I felt bad for all the actors in it, and when they would try a joke and it wouldn't work, I didn't make fun of them. I actually sat there and I would be like, oh, they tried. Gotta give it to them. They tried. It was almost heartbreaking to
Yeah.
just see them fail so badly.
Yeah, I really did hate that movie. I would probably compare it to a lot of like Pluto Nash.
Yeah.
It just didn't work.
No.
All those people are very funny, but the movie itself was a complete train wreck.
And I remember being somewhat excited because I looked at it as sort of like a new version of Mel Brooks's History of the World.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I thought it was going to be, because I mean it's a good idea to go through the history of the world and just sort of poke fun at everything. But wow, they were way off. And almost nothing worked. I don't think I laughed once.
No, the humor was extremely juvenile. Very, like, lowbrow in a PG-13 sort of way.
Yeah.
I think the only scene that made me laugh was the scene where Michael Cera was playing the statue when they put him in the all gold, like, body paint and made him stand there. I don't even remember what he said, but there was like a line that he said that made me laugh.
Yeah.
But other than that, anything to add about year one?
On Rotten Tomatoes, it got a 15%. So, we're right there with our picks.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Stand By Me got a 91. I didn't...
So there you go. We did no really surprises, but I had to talk about this because this was just so bad. And I don't even remember how far I made it into the movie. I think I only made it like maybe 35, 40 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, unfortunately I had to see the whole thing because I've only ever walked out of 2 movies that I can remember, and one was a movie called Loser with the guy from American Pie.
Yes, I've heard your story of
Jason
walking out on
Biggs.
that one.
Yeah, that was one. The other one I walked out of was, I think it was Coyote Ugly. I think I walked out of Coyote Ugly.
Yeah, that's a good one to watch. I have a feeling that those 2 could be in our segment later.
Yeah. Now, see, I walked out of them because at the time I worked at a movie theater, so I didn't pay for tickets to see them anyway, so...
Yeah, it is really hard to walk out when you paid for it.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time,
It's
it's sort of just odd that you would put yourself through that. I mean, you think that you would just be like, okay, just realize I just, I had to bite it. I wasted $10. Just go salvage some time and do something productive instead of sitting there and watching something that you absolutely hate.
Yeah. There were several, I would say last year, I'm just thinking about recently, like last year there were several 1 out of 10s that I saw, like Dylan Dog was one that was so horrible, but we're not going to talk about that because I might want to talk about that in the coming months. The movie that I picked for 1 out of 10 it's kind of a cop-out. It's definitely a cop-out.
Is it the movie the cop-out?
No. No, I wouldn't give that a 1. I don't know what I'd rate it, but not a 1. It's The Room. I had to do it. It's Tommy Wiseau's 2003 film, The Room.
The epic.
Rather than kind of talking about this, I have a clip here that I want to play, and this clip sums up everything about this movie. So
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hey, Johnny, what's up?
I have a problem with Lisa. She said that I hit her.
What? Well, did you?
No, it's not true. Don't even ask. What's new with you?
Well, I'm just sitting up here thinking, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You think girls like to cheat like guys do?
What makes you say that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm just thinking.
Just thinking.
I don't have to worry about that because Lisa's loyal to me.
Yeah, man, you never know.
You never know.
People are very strange these days. I used to know a girl. She had a dozen guys. One of them found out about it, beat her up so bad she ended up in a hospital on Guerrero Street.
What a story, Mark.
Why is he?
That is one of the classic scenes from The Room. I know that everybody says that this is like one of the worst movies ever made and stuff, but it was so horribly bad that I just had to do it for my first one. It's funny, the IMDb synopsis says, a happy-go-lucky banker sees his world fall apart when his friends begin to betray him one by one. This is written and directed by Tommy Wiseau. I think this is pretty highly regarded as one of the worst movies ever made. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it even has a Rotten Tomatoes score.
I think it would destroy their system.
Yeah, they would just crash their servers. Yeah. This had kind of it would still, I guess, has kind of a cult following to it. For a while there was like a lot of Hollywood celebrities that were going to see this. It was playing at one theater in LA, and it had a billboard, and the billboard looked so ridiculous. And all of a sudden, you have people like Seth Rogen and Kristen Bell coming out and saying like that's like their favorite movie ever, and they've seen it like 5 times and stuff. And it kind of took on this like Rocky Horror Picture Show vibe to it, where people would interact with the movie and stuff.
Yeah, like people actually started having viewing parties with this movie. I mean, this movie is perfect for. Sometimes me and my wife we'll get a really terrible movie, and we watch it while we get drunk, because it's extremely fun to do. And it seems like this movie is perfect for that.
There are so many horrible lines. There's nothing, absolutely nothing redeemable about this film in the slightest bit. Now, the first time I saw it, I actually watched it by myself, and I couldn't even make it through the whole movie. It was so bad. It really is the type of movie you have to watch with somebody else to just laugh at.
Yeah.
Because if you sit down by yourself and watch it's so bad.
Yeah, it's sad. You have to watch it with people and make fun of it as you're watching it.
I have another clip here I want to play real quick.
Hi.
Can I help you?
Yeah, can I have a dozen red roses, please?
Oh, hi, Johnny. I didn't know it was you.
1,000.
Here you go.
That's me. How much is it?
It'll be $18.
Here you go. Keep the
$18?
Hi, doggy.
You're my favorite customer.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
I love it. That's just... I mean, and there's like... You can look on YouTube and find tons of clips. Yeah. This isn't a movie I would recommend watching, but you can go on YouTube, type in The Room, and there's tons a million different clips, montages, like different parody videos. There's so much like that this movie. It's sort of like Troll 2, that kind of vibe where it's like so horrendously bad that it's
entertaining,
successful.
Well, that's what I was saying about Year One. I mean, Year One was so bad that it wasn't even entertainingly bad. No. Like The Room is. The Room is awful. But like I said, if you watch it with a group of people, you're gonna have fun watching this movie because it's just so terrible.
And a couple years ago, or maybe it was even last year, Adult Swim, for April Fools, they dedicated their entire block to replaying The Room over and over again for like 7 hours. So instead of their regular programming, it was just The Room over and over.
Oh my goodness.
I thought that was hilarious. But, I mean, yeah, and I would compare it to like Birdemic, Shock and Terror. You know, that movie is just as bad and laughably bad. But I look at movies like this, and to me, I think that a lot of aspiring filmmakers can see movies like this, and, you know, it gives them hope. Like, because we're talking about The Room. I mean, it's not something that is completely, like, totally obscure. So if someone can make a movie that's this horrible and have people be talking about it across the country, I mean, that should give hope to any kind of
Yes.
young filmmaker.
Yeah.
And Birdemic is even worse as far as how it's made.
Shh, that might be one of mine.
I think the budget for The Room was something like $3 million or something like that.
How? Where do these people get money? I don't know. I don't understand it.
I have no idea how he got the funding. He might have funded it himself. But I don't. The other question is, I've seen movies that were made for much less that are much better. Like, actually, it's $6 million. That's according to IMDb. $6 million budget. I don't know where that $6 million went, honestly. Like, maybe like it went towards coke.
That's what I was gonna say. It had to be drugs, drugs and alcohol. I think that's the only way you get through this.
Well, he wrote it, he directed it, and he stars in it. And I don't even know what country he's from, but he not only is a horrible actor, but sometimes you don't even understand what he's saying. Sometimes he says words that aren't even real. And it feels, even though it was made in 2003, it feels like an 80s soap opera or an 80s porn that just is, like a softcore or something.
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
That's one of the best lines.
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
It's one of my favorite lines.
She sounds like excited about it.
And the funny thing is the context that happens in. There, she says it so nonchalantly, and then she's saying it to her daughter, and then her daughter just kind of brushes it off, like she like changes the subject, like, well, I think I'm gonna order a pizza. Like, it's never discussed anymore in the rest of the movie.
Oh my god.
There's, like I said, nothing went right with this movie. It was through and through a complete mess.
Wow.
Well, that wraps it up for another week. As always, we welcome your comments and suggestions. Just send us an email at podcast@filmpulse.net. You can head on over to our site at www.filmpulse.net, where you can find the latest film news, reviews, trailers, and more. You can also find us on Twitter at FilmPulseNet, Facebook at facebook.com/FilmPulse, and we're also on iTunes and Stitcher. For FilmPulse.net, my name is Adam.
And I'm Kevin.
And we will see you on Tuesday.